You're listening to The Residential Movement, where the focus is on making in-home dental care normal instead of novel or niche. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley Robinson, a house call dentist with a lot of passion for reaching patients who are best served in their home or residence. I'm here to encourage, equip, and empower dentists like you to begin offering in-home dental services for patients who cannot get to the office, while also enjoying a more balanced work life. We discuss everything from dentistry, business, ethics, mindset, and more. Listen in to learn how you can become a part of the residential movement. One of the most appealing parts of becoming a house call dentist that I hear from listeners or other prospective house call dentists is the autonomy, the freedom, and the independence. In contrast to a typical chairside dental office where you might work with a front desk person, multiple assistants, a hygienist or two, and an office manager before you even begin to see dozens of patients, I work alone. And I might only physically see 3 other people during my entire workday. Now, I'm an extrovert who loves talking to people, but for me, the trade-off of seeing fewer people every day and having more independence works very well. This might work very well for you too. Still, you might prefer having a team or having more people to interact with every day. Well, the good news is your dental house call practice can have a team that's as robust or as lean as you want it to be. There's a lot of variation and freedom here, just like there is in scheduling. So even though I technically work alone and I don't have employees and I might only interact with a few patients each day, I cannot say that I operate completely independently. There's a lot of cooperation that goes into my dental house call practice. Your dental house call practice can be a small enough operation to run on your own, completely independently, but there's no denying the value of teamwork. I believe working as a part of a team will make life better for you and for your patients. So today I want to talk to you about my officially unofficial team, and then you can decide how you want to structure the team in your practice. So let's start at the beginning. On a standard workday, I wake up and see the fam, my most important team. Now please don't misunderstand me. You do not need to wake up to a spouse or massive family to be a house call dentist. In fact, I started my house call practice out of my tiny apartment when I was single. Whether you have a family of one or many, make sure to cherish your most important team. A strong, happy family offers a million benefits to your life, and one of those benefits is having a better workday. I don't really believe in firm boundaries between a personal and professional life. It's all just life to me, so it's silly to think that your happiness at home wouldn't translate into happiness at work or vice versa. A rising tide raises all ships, right? Anyway, take care of the people in your family, including yourself, and you'll see the benefits in your practice. Next, most workdays I'll check in with my virtual assistant, Katie, with a text or email. Other days, we might not touch base at all if things are really slow or if either of us are really busy. She lives and works out of the area, so I'm actually a client of hers. She helps me with every administrative task under the sun. Well, every task that can be completed remotely, which is a ton. She helps me with phones, scheduling, billing, referrals, answering patients' questions, emails. She's an essential part of the Accommodental team, and I could not be as productive or happy without her. Actually, I know this for a fact because she took a short maternity leave once and I tried to manage without her. It was awful because I was spread way too thin. I always appreciated her help, but in her absence, I realized just how much she actually does to help me and Accommodental. She's become a confidant and friend of mine. I really value our teamwork and also our friendship. I highly recommend working with an administrative assistant, even a virtual assistant, to help you with your practice. You can't answer your phone all the time, and there's a lot to manage. Partnering with an assistant will help keep your patients happy so that they always have someone to contact. It'll also help you focus on what you do best, dentistry. Plus, during Katie's short leave, a woman called and I answered the phone. She was looking to make an appointment but was very suspicious because she said to me, "What kind of dentist answers their own phones?" She made me laugh because I was thinking like a nice dentist that doesn't want to miss your call. But especially when you're working with older adults, they really appreciate the formality of having someone else help the doctor. Another team member turned friend is a hygienist I work with named Marianne. Now, I just love her. She's retired, but she once called and asked if she could work with me occasionally because she loves to stay busy and she's just a natural, nurturing type of person who loves caring for older adults. Well, in New York, I can't send hygienists into people's homes without supervision, so I told her that we definitely could not work together consistently. Still, occasionally when I visit patients in a residential community setting, I'm able to call her to come work with me because as long as I'm in the same building as her, she can totally help me with prophies and whatnot. She's fantastic with patients, and I really enjoy working with her. She's become a great friend. I even invited her to my wedding. Now, I rarely work with Marianne because I primarily visit patients who live in their own private residences, but when we do get the chance to visit a residential community together, it's a lot of fun. Depending on the rules in your state, you may be able to assemble a team of providers who can visit patients independently. Maybe you can send FDAs out to take impressions or send hygienists out for recall. This just isn't an option for me, so I don't do that, but if I would, I could. The more help, the better. Definitely contact an attorney in your region or someone who knows the regulations and scope of providers in your region, and you may be able to gather a sizable team. More team members that I may or may not see on any given day would be my team at my local dental lab. I don't take advantage of their delivery service because the lab is so close to where I live. How often I swing by the lab depends on my schedule and my caseload, but there's no denying that they play a huge role in my practice. My patients have to have quality dentures and night guards and retainers and everything, right? Working closely with the lab has resulted in me being able to get people their prosthetics much faster than they get them from a standard dental office. Plus, since I'm there, I can more clearly communicate my needs rather than trying to explain them on a lab slip. Now, you don't need to physically pop into your lab a few times a month to have a good working relationship with them. You can choose a lab across the country and communicate with them on the phone or online, whatever works. You decide what to do in your house call practice, but just make sure you have a good lab on your team. Another valuable member of your team could be the social media manager. Depending on the state of my business, there have been times when I work closely with someone else who manages the social media posts. Other times, I take that task on myself. Still, this is someone who you could work with to make sure posts are consistent and engaging. You can also work with this team member virtually. In my case, I also work with a podcast agency to help me with editing this podcast. You likely wouldn't work with a podcast agency unless you have a podcast, but there's still a member of my team who I rely on heavily for my work, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned them here. And those are the team members that help keep Acama Dental and the residential movement running smoothly. I would be making a big mistake if I didn't mention the value of working with patients' families. A lot of my patients are cognitively independent and live alone, but many of them are not, and they live with caregivers, and they have healthcare proxies who consent for them. Of course, it isn't like you're going to compensate these people as a part of your professional team, but definitely understand their value and communicate your appreciation to them. Working closely with patients' families to coordinate care has been very helpful for me for determining medical histories or getting in touch with other providers or pharmacists or whoever I need to get in touch with. A family member who cares is a valuable team member to me and to their loved one. Finally, I've got to give it up to my local community. Dentists, other physicians, social workers, hospice nurses, media members, they really help me get the word out about Acama Dental to the people who need this in-home service. They're absolutely a part of the team that makes everything work in my practice. I haven't formally advertised in a long time because the community does an excellent job connecting me with patients who are in need. So yes, I do technically work alone. I might only see 3 people outside of my home on any given day. Still, house call dentistry is a team sport. You can do a lot on your own, but you can do a lot more as a part of a team. I highly recommend finding the best support for yourself and for your patients as you move through this house call journey. I want to remind you that if you'd like to join me this week in person for live Q&A, join the Residential Movement official membership at residentialmovement.com/official membership. We'll also be meeting later this month for our October book club discussion of Atomic Habits. If you have more questions, email me at hello@residentialmovement.com. I can't wait to hear from you or see you in the live meetups. Whether you decide to pursue dental house calls or not, consider supporting those in need of them by contributing to the Home Smile Care Foundation. The Home Smile Care Foundation is a nonprofit organization founded by myself and my loved ones to offer financial assistance to those who struggle to afford in-home care. Learn more at homesmilecarefoundation.org. Thank you very much for listening today. I appreciate you.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Residential Movement. If you like what you heard today, please leave a 5-star review and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please share this with them. All of these actions help fuel the residential movement. Visit residentialmovement.com for show notes and for access to any links referenced in this episode. Thanks again for listening, Doc. Keep up the good work.